Hello students, welcome to History lecture of Standard 8th. In today's session, we will learn chapter number 6, Beginning of Freedom Movement. Students, in our previous chapters, we have studied with the introduction of English education. The feeling of nationalism was shown by the reforms of newly educated society. There was intellectual awakening in the society on the principles of humanity, equality, and fraternity. The educated thinkers started social awareness through writings to solve the various problems in the society. Due to various movements in different parts of India, a favorable situation was created to build a political organization on an all India level. Efforts were made to express the aspiration of the nation by diverting the public attention towards the question of the nation. Students, as we have studied that there was British rule in our country and people did not accept British rule in India. Therefore, political organization was created to spread awareness among the people for feeling of nationalism, to sow the seeds of nationalism among the people. Thus, on the principles of liberty, equality, and nationalism, the Indian social reformers set up a nationwide political movement. Centralization of administration during British rule. For the convenience of administration and swift movement of the army, the British built network of roads and railways. This network was built so that trade could be carried out easily. But these facilities were also benefited by Indians as well. People from different parts of India came in contact of each other. There was increase in communication and feeling of nationalism grew up. Social reformers took advantage of the network built by Britishers. They travelled to and fro and spread the feeling of nationalism among the people. Economic exploitation. Students, in our previous chapters we have studied how farmers and artisans were exploited. Farmers were forced to produce cash crops instead of food grains. They were forced to pay tax on time, otherwise their lands were confiscated. We have also studied how artisans were exploited. The goods manufactured in England were machine made and hence there was maximum production at minimum cost. To compete with such cheap products was difficult for Indian artisans. Eventually, it led to the closing down of traditional industries and many artisans became unemployed. This resulted into the discontent among the people. Due to spread of Western education, new ideas such as justice, liberty, equality, democracy were introduced to the Indians. The principles of scientific attitude, humanity, nationalisms were accepted by the Indians. Western education, new thoughts, modernity changed the lifestyle of Indian people. Therefore, they inculcated a feeling that we are capable of carrying out the work of the country and its progress is possible by following these principles. Study of ancient Indian history. With Western education, it was also important to study Indian culture. For this, the Asiatic Society was established at Bengal by the British. Many Indian and Western scholars started study of Indian culture. The manuscripts in Sanskrit, Persian and other languages were examined and research was published. Dr. Bhau Daji Lad and Dr. R.G. Bhandarkar. These Indian scholars made intensive study of ancient Indian history. Indians realize that we are blessed with the glorious ancient tradition. Therefore, various institutions were built to study the Indian culture. The Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute is working since last 100 years in Pune. Contribution of newspapers. During British period, various English and vernacular newspapers and periodicals came to be published. Vernacular means in different languages. Through these newspapers, political and social awakening took place. Newspapers like Darpan, Prabhakar, Hindu, Amrit Bazar Patrika, Kesari, Maratha started criticizing the British government. Establishment of Indian National Congress. On 28th December 1885, the first session of Indian National Congress was held at Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit School in Mumbai. 72 delegates means representatives from different provinces of India participated in this session. Vomesh Chandra Banerjee, a renowned lawyer from Kolkata, was the president of this session. Alan Octavian Hume, a British officer, took lead in the establishment of Indian National Congress. Increased proportion of Indians in the administration, reduction of military expenses by the British government, such statements were sent to the British. Now, let us see what were the objectives of Indian National Congress. It was very much necessary to bring all the Indians together. It was necessary to change the mindset of the people, of distinguish among high caste, low caste, men, women, to make the people from different parts of India forget the differences in religion, race, caste, language, geographical territories and bring them on the common platform was very important. To understand each other's problems and views, to increase the feeling of oneness among the people, to help the people in difficulties, to take efforts for the development of the country were the objectives of Indian National Congress. There were two phases of Indian National Congress, moderate phase and extremist phase. Moderate phase from 1885 to 1905. The early 10 years of establishment of Indian National Congress, their contribution was very slow but consistent. They believed in constitutional method. They had a hope that if we demand through constitutional methods, then the British will give justice to our demands. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Firoz Shah Mehta, Surendranath Banerjee were all moderate leaders. In the session of Indian National Congress, different resolutions were put forward by moderate leaders, such as to get representation in provincial legislature, jobs for educated Indians, cutting down the increases expenses on military. Legislature and judiciary should be separated for safeguarding legal rights of Indian citizens, etc. To cause a split in the national movement, the British implemented the policy of divide and rule. To break the unity of Indians, British played the policy of divide and rule. Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal were believed to be extremist leaders. There were differences in the ideologies among moderate leaders and extremist leaders. Moderates believed constitutional methods, but extremists believed in severe struggle for attainment of freedom. There were differences in the opinion of moderate leaders and extremist leaders. Moderate leaders believed in constitutional methods, but extremist leaders believed in severe struggle for attainment of freedom. In the early period, the extremist leaders for bringing political awakening among the Indians used methods like newspapers. Kesari and Maratha were the newspapers through which Lokmanya Tilak made severe criticism on the suppressive policy of British. In Bengal province, Amrit Bazar Patrika was a mouthpiece of extremist ideology. By forgetting the internal differences, people should come together and exchange their ideas. Common people should get inspiration from contribution of national personalities. With these objectives, Lokmanya Tilak started organizing Shiv Jayanti and Ganesh Utsav. In the Mandalay prison, Tilak wrote Gita Rahasya. which stressed that people should always be in action. As extremist leaders believed in severe struggle for attainment of freedom. The moderates laid the foundation of freedom movement and the extremists carried forward the movement. In 1897 in Pune, the epidemic of plague had spread on a large scale. Hundreds of people died due to it. An officer named Rand was appointed. The plague patients were searched out and oppressive measures were adopted, which hurted the Indians. As a revenge, the Chapekar brothers assassinated Rand. Assassinated means killed.